Don't tell your friends, don't tell your family, and just go cold turkey and creating things and just figuring it out. So like, I feel like today's billboard literally is the cell phone. Brands really do look at videos that people post. They really, really do. I've done so many videos. Like I use Posca markers because I saw it was hot. A year later, Posca hit me up like, hey, do you want to do a video with us?
Hey everybody, it's Joe Barron, the host of the Brandon Barron podcast, Market to Me. And each episode features real conversations with designers, marketers, founders, fellow creatives who've been in the trenches. Whether it's logo marks or market strategy, we break it down on what actually works when building brands and businesses that last. And today, right now, you might have seen them in episode numero uno. It's Illustrator and sneaker artist Anderson Bluu. Welcome back, buddy.
What's good, man? Feel like we just yesterday we're having a conversation in my office, and now I'm back again. So thanks for having me.
So Anderson, you've expressed that in the last episode that you want to work on creating a more educational content with your YouTube channel. How is that going? What's the latest update on that?
Wow, I can't. You know what? I didn't realize that I started to talk about it way back then. But yeah, no, it's going good. So the hardest thing about starting a new channel is you're starting from zero. And for me, I've built my channel on just the last 10 years of just figuring out YouTube. So I have videos of me doing vlogs, I have videos of me talking about new collaborations I'm doing. I have shorts, I have long videos. And for me, it just felt like the videos were all over the place a little bit. Like if you're into the Anderson Bluu brand, you don't mind, but unfortunately when it comes to YouTube, you're kind of at the mercy of the algorithm. So last year just really felt like I wouldn't be able to build something that made sense on my channel. I just decided to start a new one. Just didn't tell anybody, started a side channel, which I feel like every YouTuber does anyway. It's doing great. The sole focus of this channel is just me talking to the beginner digital artists. If you're a person who wants to get into graphic design, if you're really curious about maybe making your own product or work for somebody else or maybe going to design school, this is a channel for you. And what's nice about it is I don't really got to think about much. I'm really just talking to the younger version of myself, that person who's starting out. And I'm just making videos that I wish I had when I first started. So right now it's doing really well. I'm really happy with it. And it feels good to put out content where I know I'm giving out good information, just putting it out there. I can just take a step back. If people enjoy it, cool. If they don't, no big deal. But for me, I'm just building a library.
That's pretty cool. And you stuck in this, and I'm kind of curious if you would agree. You said you started another channel that other YouTubers do. So do you consider yourself a YouTuber?
I've always struggled, because people have called me a TikToker for probably like the last few years because I was on the TikTok wave when it first came out and got big in the US. If people call me YouTuber, I'm not going to fight it. It is what it is. I would say that's probably my priority right now. I just think when it comes to, we're just in a world of content, right? Unfortunately, if you're selling something, if you're marketing something, you're teaching something, you are in the content business, unless you're in a classroom or unless you have some type of game plan to bring people to you. But if you're starting out, you're doing something new in 2026, unfortunately in the content business, because that's the best way for people to figure out who you are, what you're doing, what value you bring. Like I said, I don't go out and say I'm a YouTuber, but if people call me that, I'm not going to knock them. It's just, it is what it is, you know?
Got it. I mean, content is one thing that I think it's weird. Like we have to do it. It's kind of like a double-edged sword in the sense like people don't want to do it and people still have to do it. It's important in the sense that you get to see the personality, people see who you are, but at the same time, it's like, hey, that's not my priority. That's not what I'm focused on unless like that's your goal. Like if some people want to try to work for a different company, they're just there. This is kind of like a video resume in a sense, like a video interview, like, hey, this is who I am. This is how I am, how cool, my personality, blah, 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 blah. This is who you can interact with every day in the office. Are we a good fit? Are we not? But on the other hand, it seems like a lot of people really want to like just create content. And again, that's kind of hard to even make a living because again, people are still struggling to do it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think two things, right? I think there's two problems that happens when people that want to make content. And I think the people that do a thing get confused with the people that like just want to be famous for making content. And I explain what I mean. So for example, I feel like people who are like, if you're a cook, right? Or if you're, let's say, a person that like makes things with your hands, if you're a plumber or whatever, the person that's making content, their goals are totally different than the person that's trying to get famous, right? So like, let's say if I'm a plumber or whatever, my goal is to, or I'm assuming what that person's goal would be, is to let people know that I am one of the best plumbers or a helpful plumber in your area. And if you need help with something, I will be able to come down and help you do that. The reason why content, videos, YouTube, whatever makes so much sense is it's free, right? Outside of course, hiring somebody to edit the video if you want to do that, or hire a photographer or whatever, outside of that, it is the best form of marketing because it's free. If you try to do a billboard, you're going to pay a lot of money. If you want to do a commercial, you got to pay a lot of money. So when it comes to people like that, I think it benefits them to do it because you are getting the exposure of, depending on who you're talking to, it could be millions if you do it correctly, or maybe even thousands. And honestly, if you're an accountant or plumber, you don't need much. Maybe just 100 to 200 views could be the best thing for you because you can't really handle more people than that. I definitely resonate with people when they say like, hey, I don't want to do this because I don't want to jump through these hoops. I'm not making any money. It's a waste of time. But if you find a way to make it easier on yourself, or you find a way to say like, you know what, this is the best defense for myself. And when I say defense, as far as like, no matter if the economy's doing good, the economy's doing bad, at least I'm putting out who I am, what I do, what my business does out into the world. And hopefully I'll be able to pick up some new business along the way.
There's things to go about it. If you create evergreen content, it's always there. So if people are always searching for your plumbing analogy, how to plunge a toilet, someone might do it. It might be the best way to do it. Like, oh, here's the actual sneaky way of doing it. Or someone's doing it in a Mario costume and they'll pop up. And if they're entertaining, their information is useful, it could lead to other things. And you're kind of, part of that goal is to provide the person with the information, but not necessarily, they don't want to be famous, or if they have subscribers, fantastic. But it's more about trying to get them to click on their website, find their number, see if they're local, and get that clientele. If you're the plumber and I'm looking for a plumber, you help me out. Instead of me subscribing, I'm going to see, is Anderson in my area? Awesome.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
Let me call him up. So it's kind of like,
yeah, like I don't know about you, but I've called many people to help me fix things in my house, right? But like, I don't know who this guy is I'm about to let into my house. I'm just assuming that like I'm reading reviews. I'm hoping that they're telling the truth. I have no idea. But if I take 5 minutes and you show me, I'm just like, you show me that you know what you're talking about and it makes sense to me. And I'm like, all right, cool. What, Joe? Joe sounds like you know what you're talking about. Come on down. So like the thing I've always liked about content is by the time the person gets to you, they're already probably bought in whatever that thing is because they're able to spend time with you. Or I like to say like invisible hours, right? For example, let's say somebody's watching your channel and they're watching this podcast and they're learning, right? It could be a year from now. They might find some valuable information that helped them. And next thing you know, they're 20 hours in, right? You might be talking to the person for the first time ever, like, hey, how you doing, Anderson? Thanks for reaching out. But to me, I'm like, yo, man, you helped me figure this out, help me figure that out. Like, I'm your biggest fan. I want to help be a part of the process. What could I do? How could I help out? And in the beginning, you don't see it, but in the back end, and I've been doing social media for, I can't even believe, God, for like 6 or 7 years at a professional level, it makes a total difference. I still remember what it was like to be a graphic designer before having any type of account that mattered to after. And it's night and day. I remember me and my sister were at I think it was for Spotify. We were helping Spotify with something. And me and her were talking and just looking around at what was happening. It was just like, after doing stuff like this, it's very hard to go back. Like once you see the other side, I see why other content creators have made like a TV show or a channel because, like I said, it's just night and day as far as what you're able to do just because you're able to put yourself out on the internet.
I agree. The downside of making content is if you're new, you don't have those reviews. You don't have the view counts. And people tend to look at the view counts as part of like a Google review. If you're searching something on Google, you're looking for the Google reviews. And there's a whole method to trying to reach out to people and get the Google reviews growing. But also the way people view things. It's like, I could have a great video. Matter of fact, I know I have some great videos out there, but the bigger channels will overtake what I have, even if we have similar content. I saw something that was like, you can't have better information or better video, better content. It's got to be astronomically much better or very contrarian just to kind of like really stand out. And problem that I don't really like is that everyone's kind of negative and contrarian
Yeah.
just as clickbait. It's to
Yep.
hook you in and see from there. And it's like, it's sneaky, but unfortunately, it feels like that's the game you have to play in order to get the people to watch.
Right. Yeah. I have a few thoughts. And for the last thing you said, unfortunately, we're human. Negative news is going to spread faster than positive news. That's just how we're made up, unfortunately. And people definitely tap into that for YouTube. However, there are people that do very, very well. And I wouldn't say they have like this crazy, like positive spin for everything, but it's more about asking the viewer questions and asking really good questions to the point where you want to click and find out, right? Like, this is the book that helped, I don't know, Walt Disney build Disneyland, right? Like, if you're into that, you're going to be like, what was that book? Or what was that sentence? Or what did he get from that book that made Disney what it was or whatever, right? I agree there's a lot of negativity, but I do think you don't necessarily need to do that in order to succeed in social media. Doing a video and not getting a lot of views sucks. It's annoying, especially when you feel like you put a lot of hours into it. Nobody wants that to happen. But I have a few approaches that I tell people that really make a difference. And the first one is don't tell anybody you're doing it. If it's TikTok, YouTube, Instagram, start a new account. Don't tell your friends. Don't tell your family. And just go cold turkey and creating things and just figuring it out. And I do this too, even with my Instagram. If I feel like there's people that I know that see it, I'm not the best with trying something new as far as content. Like I'm only trying to do the hits, you know? But when I did TikTok, I didn't say a word to anybody and I just kept trying videos. I kept trying to get better. I kept trying to like figure it out. And what made TikTok easier was at the time, the videos weren't even 60 seconds. It was like 30 seconds, maybe 60 seconds. So you learn a lot faster. But for anybody brand new doing it, I would definitely say if you're worried about the numbers and stuff like that, I would say just start a new account. Don't tell anybody and like use YouTube as a resource. Try to find a coach or anything like that and try to show you what's the best way to create videos. Just because when you first do it, there's so many things you have to be good at for it to work that it's anywhere else. If you look at like late night shows or anything that's a TV-based show, there's 5 to 10 people that work there. There's a person that's the talent. There's a person that's writing. There's a person that's doing the lighting. There's a person that's holding a camera. The person that's doing the sound. And you're doing it all by yourself. That's why it's so hard. It's a job that's meant for multiple people. And you just try your best to scale it down so it makes sense for you. But for the new person coming out, what I would say the most important thing is, even if you have a friend that's starting out, is to do it with somebody or to do it with a coach. Because any of these content platforms, the reason why it sucks is because like you put something out and you have no idea what happened. When I first started, I was like, I'm putting out good videos. I'm doing everything everybody's doing. Like, why isn't it working? But it wasn't until I luckily got into like a TikTok program where like they teach you how to make better videos. They were showing you what the viewer was looking for. And I found out that the videos I was doing, the videos were fine, but the way I was packaging the video to the viewer wasn't good. Right? Like it was more for me than for them. And it wasn't until, and I think I told you this example, but I'll say it again. It wasn't until they showed me an example of a hairdresser. And she had a video with like top 10 hairstyles for going back to school. The video got like 1,000 views. Good video, but like, you know, it wasn't really meant for anybody. The woman did another video and said, top 5 hairstyles, I think, to look like Taylor Swift or something like that. And what she did was she showed she could do hairstyles and attach it to Taylor Swift fans. And that video had like 10 million views. So she's doing the same thing, but because she packaged it differently, the video did better. Now, I tell that story because if a person didn't sit her down and tell her like, hey, you should give this a shot, she would have no idea. She probably would have been like, this doesn't work. But just making that small, simple change is what started to get, I guess, help her to start brainstorming new ideas and new video content.
That example, you're tying it into, you know, the Swifties, those fans.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Is it necessarily something that you have to do? You have to tie it into somebody, like to some sort of fanatic?
I think all businesses have a target audience if you really look hard enough. Like Harry Potter, right? Like there's a bunch of different target audiences in there. And by the way, luckily, look, it's a great book. It's a great movie. So that helps also. But for the people that are
I wouldn't
into
know. I never read it, and I fell asleep during one of the showings.
really, but you know Harry Potter, of
I
course.
get it. Yes.
That book spoke to the audience of the younger person that was into magic, that was into, I forget the proper term, but into like that whole mythical storyline. You know what I mean? Like Game of Thrones talks to the people that like that medieval times, that, you get what I'm
Fantasy.
saying?
Yeah, the fantasy world. Yeah.
Thank you, the fantasy world. So I think even when it comes to video games, movies, like these people are at, when they first come out, trying to hit a target audience. And I think that works for content. I think it works for art. I know it's not like if you talk to artists, and even with myself when I first started, I was like, I want to make art for everybody. But the people that really figure out who they're trying to talk to, I would say do the best. And luckily, if you get so good, sometimes people outside that audience come over, and that's when you know you really hit that success. But to me, it always starts with you figuring out who is this for. Is probably the biggest thing you have to figure out, and then it starts to get a little easier from there.
So always figure out your target audience.
I really feel like the most important thing is to figure out who is this for, what is your why, and things start to get easier from there.
Just because I know you mentioned billboards and how it's expensive, how it's much cheaper to how YouTube is free to create content and instead of a billboard. I was just looking up the pricing for having a billboard. Currently, it's the NBA Finals, and to pay for a billboard for 1 week, it ranges 100,000 to about 200,000, 250,000, depending on where it's located. So
this is in New York.
Yep,
I'm gonna say
right outside of Madison Square Garden. You're talking, and like the lowest end, 65,000, if you're lucky. That it's just wild. Imagine having,
and it's like, and I think back to graffiti writers, but the reason why they did the billboards is just because they knew somebody was advertising, it's up in the air, and they knew so many people were going to see it in New York City or wherever. Hundreds of thousands of people are going to see it every single day. So that's why it made sense to put it in the highest spot. But today, everybody's on their phone. So like, I feel like today's billboard literally is the cell phone. I don't know if the app's going to change. I don't know if it's going to be Snapchat. I don't know if it's going to be Instagram. I don't know if it's going to be TikTok. I have no idea. But for me, it's where are all the eyes? Where's all the attention? If it's on the phone, then that's where I need to be. You know what I mean?
Graph artists, they would to throw it up as high, big and bold, let them know this is who I am. You mentioned that your channel is for the early designer who wants to learn everything, who's trying to figure everything out, decide if they want to go to art school, just start learning the programs. Now, I'm just curious on your take of this, and I'll share what I think right now. You say you are a graphic designer, or you were?
No, I still say I'm a graphic designer.
I disagree that you are, and
but go ahead. I see why you say that, but
yes. So I say that you're more of an illustrator, lean more artist, because you have, if you look at graphic design in general, you're kind of creating visuals, solving problems. The problems you solve through illustration is different. Like if you think of like Saul Bass, he said, what was it? A design is thinking made visual. Or you can even look at like Milton Glaser. Design is not art. Design is planning. I feel like there's a lot of text involved. It's a little bit more of a commercial art, but not quite, but less artistic in a sense. You're solving a visual problem. That's why you could get away with like the way people create certain layouts. I mean, it's overall, there's still a composition. There's still technical things, but sometimes I feel like with graphic designers, there's a lot more text that's involved, and it's different from like someone who's a lettering designer who has graphic design knowledge, because in the end, everyone kind of falls into the graphic design formula of what works, how to lay it out, how to create it. But I think the composition is a lot more different. And feel with you've been doing a lot more illustration. It's like the text has been removed, no logos, no catalogs, brochures, flyers, no web design, which even web design could be its own category. But again, I feel like you have the primary focus, the primary subject, and that's the focus. And there you get to play with the different colors. You get to really experiment in what some would say are graphic design programs like Adobe Illustrator. But I'm curious, what is your definition of graphic design, and why would you call yourself a graphic designer?
I would definitely say graphic design still. I do agree with what you say. I'm definitely in a gray area to where, like, have I done the flyers and the brochures and stuff like that? Yeah. years ago. Definitely have done it. It's not my favorite thing to do, but I've definitely done that for different businesses. Even though I do illustrative work, I never really left product design. A lot of the stuff I do, it happens because of my knowledge of products. And when I say products, I mean more clothes than anything else. The
And
sneakers.
when you say products, also there's a difference. Product design, a lot of people think of the apps and all that. Product design is in the
Oh, I'm happy you said
physical
that.
products. Yeah,
Yes, like physical
hard
products.
goods. Yeah,
Right.
hard soft goods, the same thing.
So if we're talking about that, then yeah, definitely. I would say more graphic design. When I talk to people, they're asking me to lean on more of like, the Anderson Bluu style and things that I do. Yes, absolutely. At this point, I probably wouldn't do a lot of white label stuff unless it's something I'm trying to do to pass the time. But when I say graphic design, I usually say that because if I say digital artist, the next question's like, what does that mean? If I say graphic design, they kind of sort of have an understanding what I'm talking about. And then if I just talk about like, yeah, I've done this, that, and the third or whatever, these type of products, usually the person understands it. But no, you're not wrong to say that I'm in the gray area. I am not traditional by any means.
It's just because I think a lot of people use it as a kind of an umbrella term.
Yeah.
It feels like
Yeah.
that's kind of what
And
it
like I
is.
said, it's just more for the person. It depends. Like if I'm talking to you, then you could talk for hours about the nuance of it. But the person has no idea. I'm just going to be like, yo, bro, this is what it is. But as far as what I'm doing, I think I'm still doing graphic design, believe it or not. So here's the deal. Anytime I'm working with a brand, they want me to do something and I'm giving it to them like I would do any other brand, right? Like they're printing something, like they're getting the design pack. I'm giving them everything that they need to give to the printer or whatever. It just really depends what I'm doing for what person.
Okay, because for one thing, the way you were presenting that one hypothetical was that it's like you're following brand guidelines. Brand guidelines is already created, and you just have to follow that. You don't have to be a designer for that. This is all the information. Brand guidelines are just like, here are the rules on how to use our assets for this product, whatever that may be, digital or physical. But I understand what you mean if you're creating like a whole physical package of something, like whether it's a t-shirt design or anything, because then it kind of all
It gets nuanced. Like that's why I say the gray area, because I'm in like that where it blurs the lines a little bit. You know what I mean?
It just feels like lately, and a lot of it is just that it's very illustration based.
I know I was thinking about it too. I'm sure you do it also, but like some of the stuff I do is me just like, talking to the brand and helping them understand what the thing they're asking to happen. Because they might come to you and be like, "Hey, we want to make some shirts for the finals, and it should take, I don't know, 3 days to make it because of AI. It should just happen in no time." And then you might want to say, "This is what it's going to take. Who can we use? Can we use basketball players? No, we can't do that. What colors can we use? All right, can we go back into the history of the brand? No, we can't do that. All right, so what new things can we do to keep the fan excited? All right, you want to target basketball fans? Well, this is some of the icons that they would like because we're in New York or whatever." You know what I mean? So like, I feel like some of our job, even though you're not designing, just helping to problem solve just by speaking to person, just to get them started is a lot. It's a lot of the job, because some people just don't know. And that's okay. That's why you hire a professional so they can kind of help point you in the right direction.
Yeah, there's a lot of problem solving. There's a lot of questions that I think everybody must ask in order to get something done and to get it done correctly. If you don't ask those questions, that's a learning lesson. You'll learn the hard way on that.
You just figure it out. You just give them something they don't want, and then you start asking better questions. That's all. No biggie.
You worked on brand collaborations and you have your YouTube channel, and you've been focusing a lot on Adobe Fresco, doubling down on it. Adobe Fresco is great because it's free. So if you have an iPad, you could use it. It creates vector and raster. So if you're working on that as an illustrator, designer, hobbyist, student.
Yeah, if it's free, it's for me.
It's fun. But you created I created a video like how to use all of that for Adobe. How did that brand collaboration happen? Did they see you somehow? Did they connect and be like, "Hey, he's been posting our stuff. Let's connect with him"?
I don't know how it happened, but I've been working with Adobe for a while. I've done some Zooms as far as like showing my process and some live Q&A. Honestly, I just think it's...
I mean, how did that work out? How did that come about?
Just the email. Most of the stuff that comes my way comes from emails. Sometimes maybe another artist refers. It's just like, it just goes back to social media. I think the first one might have been because of my TikTok, when TikTok was red hot. So it might have started that way. And then, we just kept the communication lines open. We would talk every now and then. And if something came up, they hit me up and see if I was interested in it.
How did you filter that it wasn't like a scam? Because now everybody could spoof your emails.
That's a good question. I don't know. I think the emails look legit. I'm gonna be honest with you. Like maybe the signature. I think I also had a phone call with a person, just like a random phone call, and I just
Okay,
knew
yeah.
it was legit and whatnot. I don't know. At this point, I kind of have a good eye for knowing what's real and what's not. I've seen hundreds of emails, so many emails. I could just tell if the person knows what they're doing, if they don't know what they're doing by like the first two sentences. But when it came to Adobe, it was just a slow build. One conversation here, another one there. And, I took a liking to Adobe Fresco. I'm going to be honest, a few years ago, if you told me to try a new program, I would have told you no. I'm doing Illustrator. It took me forever to learn that. I ain't going back. But I was at a show, Designer Con. I'm pretty sure I was at Designer Con in California. One of my friends was just like, man, like, I know you use, like, I used to use Illustrator. I still do. But you need to try Procreate out. I know. It sounds annoying, but just try it out. And I don't know what came over me. I bought an iPad. I'm like, you know what, man? I'll try it. And then I liked it. It actually felt like you were drawing and painting. And just did some research, and I saw that a lot of people use Procreate, almost to the amount they use Illustrator. And my philosophy is I'm going to go where the people are, just like I was saying from before. So if there's people that are interested in learning it, I'm like, maybe I should figure this out and figure out, would I be able to use this for my workflow? And I did. And then by that time, I found out about Adobe Fresco, and I said, even better, because I know Adobe like the back of my hand. So why not learn more about the Adobe infrastructure or whatever? And I liked it. I was really shocked on it did a lot of the stuff I wish Illustrator did. I still to this day say they need to take some of this stuff and throw in Illustrator. I think they have, but I think there's more features that they could definitely add in there to make it feel like you're drawing and you're not using some tech heavy program. But anyway, I made a lot of Fresco videos, and I think Adobe caught wind of it, and then that was it. And here's the thing. I don't want to say this. I know this sounds crazy, and I know if you're a new person trying to make content, it might not seem believable, but brands really do look at videos that people post. They really, really do. I've done so many videos from different types of brands, and I wasn't expecting anything from it. I use Posca markers just because I saw it was hot. I was like, sure, I'll give it a shot. I could have looked at that as a waste of time, and I did because it's painting. I'm like, what am I going to do with this when I'm done with it? But a year later, Posca hit me up like, hey, do you want to do a video with us? And I tell that story to say that yeah, if you do a video for the biggest company in their market, like a Nike or a Disney, they're probably not gonna get back to you. But there are the second tier brands that are hoping to God people are making good videos of their stuff. So if there's a field that you're into and you're saying that I don't know, if you review tech or something like that, and you're like, yeah, I could do the iPhone, they're probably not gonna get back to you. But if you do, I don't know, what's like an LG's probably big too, but you know what I mean? Like a Samsung, another brand, and you're doing reviews on it, they might get back to you if it's a good video. They might ask you to do something for them. Are they going to pay you? I have no idea. But getting the experience of working with that brand and showing you could do that will open doors in the future. So I guess what I'm saying is that if you have an idea to make a video and it doesn't incorporate a brand, tag them, send it to them. You never know what's going to happen. And like I said, to this day, I am shocked on the emails I get from people. And it's just because I did something years ago that I didn't even think of. And it's just like, hey, can you do that for us? I'm like, yeah, sure. Why not?
So they ask you to do a lot of user-generated content, it seems like.
User-generated. So when I hear user-generated content, that's usually content that you shoot for them, you give to them, and you might not post it on your end. They might not even post it on their end. They might use it for advertising or for some back-end stuff. So you never know where it's going to go. I guess what I'm saying is they might just ask you just to promote, talk about their brand just organically. That's what I mean. I feel like user-generated content is content that sometimes doesn't make it to the light of day, but the brand uses it for whatever.
I mean, it depends on the negotiables. It depends on the contract, because you can still hit up the influencers and all the people and create the user-generated content where you get paid or they get paid or whatever. Somebody's getting paid where it benefits the company.
Of course.
Whether the company releases or not, it's usually on the profile of the person creating the video and sharing it. So there's a negotiation there, because the whole idea pretty much of that is to kind of show, hey, this brand is cool, check them out, and kind of it's like you said, kind of do it organically where you're expanding. You can oh, this dude is an average looking dude. I'm an average looking dude. I should get that. Or she uses that product. I've been thinking about that for a while. I mean, it's a whole marketing tactic. That's
Yeah.
really what it is. Again, it's just, that's one way, one thinking of it, of creating
Yeah.
user generated content.
Yeah. I think we can go back to like Adobe Fresco. I think with some of these companies is like, people don't want to watch a video that's just like, I don't want to say tutorial, but like,
You still have to make it entertaining. You still have to make it engaging of some sort.
right. No. I guess what I'm saying is that like, even though I don't want to say Adobe because I work with them, but like, even though some of these brands have like a really good product, they don't know how to talk about it. So if they find somebody that does a good job, they will say like, hey, what can you do interesting talking about this brand, this topic, this thing? You know what I mean? It is what it is, I guess.
Where do you think brand collaborations is kind of going? Like, is it still something that is going to keep improving because is just where everybody's at? Is there going to be another avenue that people could collaborate, or is it just going to start slowly scaling back because everybody's just kind of getting overwhelmed with, social media, whether it's, I mean, I guess doom scrolling to an extent, but you feel like brand collaborations are going to keep growing, or are they going to scale back a little bit?
It ain't never going back. It's only going to get bigger. I think it might change. I think it will look different, but I think it's only going to get bigger. Here are some of the big changes that's forced this to happen, right? What happened with Facebook as far as them losing ability to track everybody through a pixel. And real quick, Facebook had the ability to have a pixel on your website. If you went to it, then Facebook would be able to track a person wherever they went. Now, the reason why that's so important is because Facebook learned information about you, who you were, what you liked, and then they would tell marketers you'd be able to market to this person. You wouldn't see the person's name, you wouldn't know who they were, but you would know male, female, this age demographic, and you'd be able to market to them. That stopped because of the iPhone. The iPhone let people opt out of that, and it's been chaos ever since. So because of marketing companies who don't know the best way to reach their audience, a lot of money is being funneled into the creatives. It is what it is. I think there was some new kid, some YouTuber that dropped a movie in the movie theater just recently and like did blockbuster numbers. I think he spent maybe I don't know, $5 million for his movie. Don't quote me. It wasn't much. And the movie made $100 million or whatever. And that's just because he had a YouTube channel. He's been slowly building this and telling the story of the movie. So every year I'm hearing that this creator economy is getting bigger and bigger.
Is it? But I mean, is it really? Because if everyone's trying to be a creator, it just feels like it's just going to be oversaturated.
Yeah.
And then on top of that, you have the economy where everyone is, look at half the people, was it Webflow? There's so many people have just been laid off. So many, whether they're shifting, they laid off a bunch of people and rehired them somewhere else. Or, I mean, bottom line, the economy kind of sucks at the moment for many creatives. So if you're forcing everyone to create content because they're forced to promote themselves because they used to be like, hey, I know this guy is great. Okay, cool. Let me have an interview. All right, cool. We work together. Portfolio, cool. Yeah, whatever. You get in through networking that way. But if everyone's being forced to kind of create their own network by creating their own content, like I said, it doesn't feel like it's going to be oversaturated where everyone's just going to get pennies, more or less.
No, I don't think so. I think
you still think that the companies. Okay, yeah.
So, all right. So I want to answer your question as far as do I think it's going to be oversaturated. It always felt like there was way too many people doing it, right? Like kids wanting to be a YouTuber or a streamer or whatever has always, I won't say it's always been a thing, but it was first they want to be a YouTuber and now they want to be a streamer, whatever. So let's say a lot of people are doing this, but it really doesn't matter as long as you're talking to your audience, right? Because if you do it the right way, you don't need a lot of people to follow you, believe it or not. I think there's a book called Die Hard Fans or whatever, and it's saying if you have 1,000 diehard people, that's enough to have a sustainable career. And I do think that's true because of the things like Patreon and things like that. But yes, it's always going to feel like there is a lot of people trying to do it. But I really do feel like if you're focusing on the people that you want to talk to and every year you're getting better and the word slowly spreading, I do think that it is sustainable. It's not easy. No business is easy, but I do think it's worth it, right? You've seen people like Draplin, right? I don't know Draplin's story. I don't, but I know him because he's everywhere, right? And he's probably a little bit more everywhere years ago because he was doing videos with Skillshare, he's doing videos with Adobe and stuff like that. And if it wasn't for that, I wouldn't know who he was. You know what I mean? So I just feel like if you're able to take advantage of it, it really helps to cut through the noise. That's all that I'm saying.
And you know what? I think having those fans, the diehard fans, I even spoke about super fans on a previous episode with marketer Brianna Calero. You could definitely check that out. I'll put that in the link in the description, or check out the episode 6. Talk about super fans, and I think that's important because those are the people that are really going to ride or die for you. You need a few, but you got to attract them. They're the ones that are going to keep following you all the way along. Like, I've followed independent rappers that I've listened to since I was in high school, and everyone ages up, and I'm still listening to their music. And now it's the super fans they're still finding ways to get to their fans, which is whether it's Patreon or whatever other platforms there are. I can't think at the moment. On YouTube, you could get a membership program if you hit the numbers. But the point is that if you tackle those super fans and you properly compensate them with the quality of work or service or product or whatever you offer, they in return will not only support you so much more, but they'll also refer you to somebody else. But you also have to be interesting enough, and also have to be contrarian in a way. You have to do something different. Not contrarian. I think you got to have a certain message, something different. You can't be spitting out the same things that everybody else is saying. Like, I can't be like, hey, this is what I think about the golden ratio, and like that, where it's like, my point of view is like, I don't like the golden ratio. The golden ratio could go shove it. That's not my thing. Cool if you could find a way. It's just design principle, but like, you just kind of have to offer something different where you kind of lead them in towards you, and you got to bring your personality and your information and just like kind of throw everything at it.
Right. I think a mixture of all that helps. I do, because what people want is, and this goes back to the why, right? Like, I'm listening to this podcast, right? Like, I use myself. If I'm listening to Joe's podcast, the first thing that's going through my mind is I want to hear what's going on in the industry that's going to make me better designer, period, right? So I'm listening because I'm hoping in that hour I can get some information, some golden nugget that's going to make me a better designer. So everything I just said was a person that's looking out for themselves. Like, I want to know what you can give me that'll be able to take my career to the next level. So do you have to be funny? Not really. Do you have to be interesting? Yes, that helps. But if the person feels like you're doing that for them, that's how they start to become a super fan, because they start to say to themselves, you know what? Hung out my man Joe, super funny, super likable. He's been giving me free chicken nuggets every time that I listen to his episode. He has a Patreon. Yeah, I'm gonna put $9. I remember, I don't know if did I say this in the last podcast? I don't think so. But I went to a Colin Samir event over the last summer.
You privately, we spoke about it.
We did. Okay. Do you know who Colin Samir is?
I do. I've seen Samir at the local coffee shop one time. I happened over here, and I was just trying to listen because he was having a conversation with somebody, and I was like really trying to gather the information from that. For those that don't know, they have a YouTube channel on how to be a creator, more or less, right? And they always interview people, and they're always taking interesting takes, and it's fascinating. Like, one of my favorite tips that they offer is the thumbnail. You put not so much a before and after, but you kind of use an arrow indicating you do this leads into that. That's just one example of like a thumbnail you can use for YouTube.
Yeah.
Take it away.
So what they do is they cover the creator economy as far as YouTubers, personalities, stuff like that. So they're looked at as like the reporters of what's going on, what's the new innovation that's happening, who's the new kid on the block, how are they tackling Hollywood. That their channel is all about. So if you want to be a creator and learn about it, go to them. Anyway, I went to an event that they did in New York City, and I just got invited. So I was like, all right, cool, no problem. Luckily, I had to buy the ticket because it was expensive. But I went there. There's a line of people. And I'm there. I'm just like, I'm just here for the vibes, and maybe I'll learn something. No big deal. I was so blown away how many people who were older, younger, that wanted to make YouTube a career. And the reason why they showed up is because they felt like Colin Samir gave them so much free information that they felt like they needed to buy a ticket just to say thank you for what they did. And like, in my head, because, whatever. Was I being cynical? Maybe. I'm just like, this person being for real? Are you being serious? You're just messing with me. I would say I met 20, 30 people. They all said the same thing. I want to grow my channel. I listened to them. I learned this. I've gotten so much better. I had to buy a ticket. I had to come out and hang out and meet everybody and blah, 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 blah. So anyway, what we were talking about before when I see things like that, I just say to myself, like, oh no, this is real. Like when you see it on YouTube, you see these numbers, you say to yourself, are people really watching this? Is it really as big as it is? But when I went to that event and I saw people that came out because Colin and Samir did such a good job helping these people out in their career that they feel like they're indebted to them, lets me know the superfan thing is real. You should really try to do your best job speaking to that audience and just trying to make their lives easier and just help them along their journey. I think of it just trying to be Yoda, to be honest with you. Like, how can you be Yoda to this person? How could you help this young,
Exactly.
you know what I mean?
The bottom line is, you're not the hero in the story. You're Obi-Wan Kenobi. You're Yoda. You are the teacher. You are the guide, providing them the actual protagonist, the actual hero on their journey. So like, where you're the one that's just giving them the information to get there. You're the guide, providing them the information, providing them the brand assets or the marketing strategy, the marketing tactics, the campaign, the video, the photography, the music. And here you go. Take it. Now you can put it in a commercial. You can put it on the billboards. You can have a unique in-person interactive event.
Yeah, you could be the guy just for the business. Like, it doesn't have to be for the person. It could be the business calls you and be like, hey, let me show you how we could really make this something that people will talk about.
Exactly. And I think an easy way of doing that is with a newsletter. And if you're interested in finding out more information and coming up, like Anderson or myself or whatever I have to share, check out my newsletter, and we'll be able to share more information that's related to Market to Me, how it relates to you, how it relates to the actual business, and we help grow with all our knowledge being shared around. I think that's probably one of the best ways of doing that. And I've signed up to so many newsletters. Sometimes I have to like start unsubscribing, or they end up in my inbox as delete. I don't have the time to read it because I just get so many. But I do read them. Like, I do find good ones. I'll skim through it real quick for the most part.
Yeah, newsletters is the most profitable way to scale content.
It's the easy funnel, because if you think about it, YouTube, you don't have the information. You don't know their emails. You can't grab them.
Yep.
Say you have an Etsy shop. You're selling a product. You don't know their information. Etsy has all that. Get them on a newsletter. Now you have the control. Now you have direct access. You have direct contact with your customer. And then from there, you could build more of a personality, let them into your world, share more information, share a more personal side, and get the fan from there and grow it from there. And it takes me back to, I remember this Thai restaurant. I would come in, and it would kind of be fairly often. It was a really pretty good spot where it was like nice to have, where even if it's been some time, the woman would always provide like a little extra dessert, a little treat. And it was really like that homely, familial feel. But now it's like you're adding extras, like you're part of us. We're all family here. Obviously it's for a service. You pay me money, I give you this. But it's like, you know what? Here's a little something for you. A little free dessert. That little thing, that I've always taken that as like, yeah, just provide a little extra something. So if I was selling shirts, provide a little extra, or if somebody bought a sticker pack, here's a couple of more stickers of my designs, because I know you like it. It costs me money, but it costs more to keep you as a fan. I prefer to give you that, and because I see value in you, because you see value in me, and I want to continue that appreciation.
Yeah, to this day, I still write thank yous in all my, like, if I sell something, I'll write a quick, hey, thanks for so much for picking this up. Hope you enjoy it. Anderson Bluu.
I think it's fantastic, but I think it's super important to provide that. It's awesome. And it's the same thing with Biggie from Daily Fresh Threads. He does the same thing, always writing little notes. It goes an extra way. And if you want to listen to more of my conversation with Biggie, it's episode 9 of Market to Me. But it really does go a long way of adding that personal touch. And I think that's really important in general. And I think it adds so much that sometimes the big brands just can't see it, but a smaller brand really can nail it. I do have a question, though. I am curious to roughly change topics. But before that, you said I'm funny. A man walks into a bar. Ouch.
I guess I'll give you that one.
Thank you. Yeah. I was trying to think of what the cheesiest joke I could think of.
Right. The dad jokes in full effect. I feel you.
Yeah. You know how it happens, man. My favorite one is just personal. Immediately as my son was born, he wouldn't understand. It was just more me entertaining the nurses, just being silly. He was like, how do you make a tissue dance? Put a little boogie into it. Thank you.
I'm just picturing, I was picturing the delivery room and like just staring at you like you cracking.
Yeah, just jokes. I mean, I do have good jokes in my back pocket, but I just figure the cheesiest ones right
No,
now
no, I
get
hear
the
you. I totally get it. Yeah, break
hilarious.
the tension, you know?
Yeah. Anyway, enough of my terrible comedic skills.
No, it's all good.
Before we wrap it up, when you release an art print, I'm always curious on how you plan your special releases. Do you look up like, hey, for example, next year, it's 2027. What are the big movie releases? What are the big sneaker releases? What's the big drops that are going to be coming out? And then create from there? Or do you go on, I know I like daysoftheyear.com or
Okay.
even searching Google Trends and see what kind of pops up. But what's your kind of a tactic or strategy on trying to stay up to date, get ahead of the curve?
Yeah, I could tell you I did it in the past. I could tell you I'm doing it now just because things have changed a lot. I was doing more sneaker oriented stuff. It was pretty easy. I could just go to like any sneaker, like a hype beast or whatever Complex is doing. Or even, Jordans, they release their sneaker. They know ahead of time. They know in a year in advance. So I can kind of like pick, like, this will probably do well. I think this will do well. I never really know, but like, if it's tied to a movie or to some type of IP or whatever, it kind of raises the chances of it doing well. And that's how I would do it in the past.
And what about now?
Now, I'm really focusing more on sports, trying to stick. So if it's not sports or if I'm not like doing something for my character Benji, I'm probably not going to do it. But with sports, it's pretty easy, right? Like football season is coming, right? Like football season is going to be September, I believe.
August was when the preseason starts.
So August is preseason. September, they'll start. Baseball season's now. So what I would do, I would just see like, all right, who is either a player that I like, a player that's starting to become the new, Shohei, right? And that's what I've been doing. Unless I'm trying to like go down memory lane and talk about some of the classic players and whatnot. And I probably would be more prone to do that for baseball and basketball, probably more basketball than anything else. But that's about it. I don't say it's a lot, but I grew up playing sports. Sports is like my favorite thing in the world next to art. So I just know that audience. I understand like what they're looking for as far as wearing things and stuff they want to hang up. I think I do. I understand it. It's like I'm creating for myself almost. And that's just how I do it. So I've done a few basketball prints. I'm still in the test phase, trying to figure out like how I want to do it. But I think what I did with my Steph Curry and my print,
he doesn't say nope. He shall not be named.
Oh, Mr. Frenchman, the alien. Yeah, I think that's the direction that I plan to take the stuff in. Like I just did a project with Gary V. It's the same design. It's a character spinning the basketball. I like it a lot. I have other designs for baseball and football I haven't showed yet, but I've taken it to shows. I've seen a lot of excitement about it. And that's another thing I'll talk about a lot that I'll just say quickly before we go. I like doing shows, especially like if you can go to like a Comic-Con or different conventions where you can sell artwork. I go to these things at this point, not even to make money, but just to see if an idea works or not. Like I'll go to DC and be like, I'm just going to put this out. And that's what I did last year. Went to DC. I put out my Steph Curry and my designs. They did very, very well. And and then after watching, I'm like, oh, there's something here. So yeah, I like to go out and test it out. Almost like a comedian would do, like to go on the road and test out their jokes. I do the same thing with the artwork. So I know, because I can't trust online. Online, you can't, if you're really trying to make product and do something different, you cannot trust the algorithm and what people are going to tell you. Because unless it's really made for a certain person and you really do everything right, you're not going to get the correct information.
Got it.
I know it's counterintuitive what I was saying about content, but that's more on the educational side. But if you're making products, you got to be weary with just basing everything on what the information you get online.
I get it. Do you look up the schedule for a Comic-Con or a sneaker con or anything in advance?
Absolutely.
Like the year in advance? How many, how far?
Yep. The Comic-Cons usually put out their stuff. Sometimes it could be a year in advance, so it helps. Smaller shows, not so much. I might do it months in advance. But like as I do shows, people tell me about other shows. Like, oh, you like this one? You should check this one out. I just found out it's like a trading card shows for sports. Something I might want to check out. This one is going to be in our neck of the woods, Fan Fest by Fanatics. I tried to figure out a way to vend at that. Didn't happen. Maybe next year, but might be an event I want to go to, walk around, get to know people and see how I could be a part of it.
Okay, that's good to know. I mean, it's very helpful.
Yeah, we should probably go to that, by the way.
Okay. Yeah, definitely. Since we're talking about calendars, I got fired from the calendar factory today. All I did was take a day off.
I was waiting for it. I was like, how's he going to land this? I was waiting for it. I was like, let's see how he's going to land this one. Because as long as I know, this guy has not done a day in a factory that I know. Just Googling trade shows, I think, definitely. Like I said, if you figure out who you're selling to, at these days, a trade show for everything. Everything under the sun. There's probably a trade show for it. There's a trade show for Pokemon cards. There's probably a trade show for cars, or you want to be a DJ or whatever. It's just figuring out who you're trying to sell to. And then it makes it so much easier for you to show up to these places and say, hey, I do this, you know?
Got it. We're going to wrap it up with a segment that I like to call rapid fire questions. Pew, pew, blow, 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 blow. Banga, 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 banga. Rapid fire questions. If we have a little tangent, that's okay. It's more about just trying to get a good answer. Just have fun with it. So here we go. Do you like sketching on paper or prefer to be sketching on your iPad?
I'm a paper guy, man. Even if I sketch it on the iPad, I'm still going to bring it on paper to give it that, you know, that final touch. It's convenient to do it on the iPad, but for me, it's like I like drawing and not having to worry about maneuvering through the program to get it to do what I need it to do. So that's me, though.
Paper. Shout out to Dunder Mifflin. Are you a coffee or tea person?
I wish I was I like both, but I'm definitely more of a coffee guy. I do enjoy me some coffee. Too much, unfortunately, for me. No, but I love me some coffee. I mean, you're in New York City, so you're lucky. So you'll get like actual like coffee shops. Over here, it's tough to find like a mom and pop standalone coffee shop. There's a few new ones that are popping up, but they also cost an arm and a leg, which is like wild. Starbucks tastes like battery acid, unless you have a lot of sugar in there. I take the sugar out, so it tastes terrible.
You drink like any stoic man with just black, no sugar.
You drink Starbucks black, my friend. Woo!
I do. Cold brew black. That's not my brand. I prefer, if you're going to go with the chains, I like Dunkin', but that's...
Yeah, Dunkin' tastes better. Like I said, if you add in all the sugar, Starbucks is fine, but I'm trying to live past the age of 40, so can't do it.
What's a client red flag?
There's so many. I'm trying to figure out which one.
Start listing them then.
Okay, the first thing that came to my mind, I'm sure there's so many. Anybody that's rushing you to sign a contract before everything is said and done. I see it all the time. Maybe it's a popular tactic. I don't know, but a lot of times when you're in the beginning stages and you're still trying to figure things out, sometimes I feel like they want you to sign a contract to kind of lock you into a certain dollar amount.
Mm-hmm.
And then all of a sudden, new thing starts popping up. And you're like, wait a second, this is not what we agreed to. And it just creates these issues. So I guess what I'm saying is any client that's like, don't worry, we'll figure it out later, just sign the contract, is probably a huge red flag.
That's a big red flag because you don't want, like you said, you don't want it to be out of scope. That's a big problem.
Right. And, sometimes it feels like these companies will give you like just a contract to give everybody, like a draft contract that makes 0 sense. It's probably, they didn't even look through it, just gave it to you and just looking for you to sign it just to get the process started. But to me, that's a huge red flag. You gotta go over all the details before you get started.
I know you're a front runner and you always rooting for the person, the big superstar or whatever who's on the team. You did it for LeBron. Yep. You were, and now you did a print with the other guy, but originally you were a Knicks fan. If the Knicks win the NBA Finals, will you create a New York Knicks art print? Will we be seeing Captain Clutch?
That's the biggest problem. The biggest problem is Brunson has either too many nicknames or there's not a nickname that we all have agreed on.
There's always Cat. There's OG.
That's true. I have a Brunson sketch on my iPad just sitting there that I need to like finish up. And literally last night I was just like, I might want to sit down and put this bad boy together. So he's definitely on the list. The only thing I don't know is what name I'm going to put at the bottom. I do like Captain Clutch, but like I said, I just feel like I've heard so many names. I just don't know. It's not a big deal. You can just change it. It's not a big deal, but that's literally the only thing. Yeah, that's about it. But yeah, I would definitely make a Knicks print. Like, why not? Knicks is finally looking good. It's been so long. I had to sit through the Carmelo era. I had to watch Carmelo scare away Linsanity. I had to watch them give away Shepard and J.R. Smith, and
they went to win championships.
The Knicks plus LeBron. Yeah, that's what it was. That was the team. It was the entire Knicks squad sent to LeBron, and they won. What are we doing?
By the way, it's cool seeing them. It's cool seeing them at the finals and like sitting courtside, and everybody's super hype. So speaking of that, let's go Knicks player. Which is your favorite Knicks player of all time?
All time?
Yeah, whatever one, that you grew up with, obviously. It doesn't matter. It could be
I was always a big fan of Starks. Like growing up, Starks,
Starks was cool.
he was
What?
cool. No, but let me finish my statement. I was under the belief when Knicks were red hot, when they're versing the Bulls, I'm like, nah, man, John Starks, he gonna mess up, he gonna get MJ, he's gonna show him. I think there's one clip where he dunked on both of them. I was like,
Yeah.
that's it, we're finally gonna do it. I look back, I was like, what was I thinking? John Starks was to stop Michael Jordan? I was like, I hit my head? What am I talking about? But I was a believer. I really wanted him to do it. Grandmama Larry Johnson's another person I enjoyed.
LJ.
Big fan. I was there when he shot a big three to put him in the playoffs, something like that. By luck.
It was yeah. Was it? I remember he had the one playoff game where it was just all threes. It was all him.
I was there. By somehow we got in the building. I think when my dad was a cop, I think he got some free tickets from his precinct or whatever. Me and my cousin went. We lost our minds.
Do you prefer to release limited edition prints or open edition prints?
If I had to choose one, it would be limited edition, just because people want what other people don't have. So if you keep it limited to a number, it really helps to push them to get that thing. It could be anything. In a perfect world, I would do both. I think having both makes a lot of sense. Just because you don't want to go to somebody's website and there's nothing to buy, that's also not smart either. And I'm guilty of doing that. But if I really had to lean on something, you could really, any toy or any clothing brand or anything where you see customers going wild for the product, like they feel like they need to have it. Even when Stanley had their hot moment, is because they had some limited edition thing and people felt like they needed to get it. Didn't Starbucks have that cute Starbucks cup with the little teddy bear? That was cool, right? They didn't really do, I think they've done stuff like that, but that actually looked cool and people wanted it. And it was mayhem. Like the Starbucks by me, I think they only had 5 of them because they didn't want to have to deal with the issue, So yeah, I'm a big fan of limited edition.
That's cool. And for those who don't know, open edition just means that there's no cutoff of the actual art print. You could keep selling it as many times as you want. All right. So this is you were talking about it earlier. I believe I know the answer to this, but Procreate or Fresco?
For me?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I'm asking you the question. It's not for me.
I would probably go Fresco. It's just because I'm so built into the Adobe that it's just such an easy transition. I think Procreate is cool. I like what they're doing. I think it's cool that they really stamped their stance with the whole AI situation. I think that's cool.
And then what about
how it's one price and that's it? It's not like an ongoing subscription.
Now, Fresco or Adobe Illustrator? Which Adobe product is it?
I know. For me personally, I know I am all by myself in this. I'm going to say Illustrator. And the only reason I'm going to say that's because at this point, me using Illustrator, it's pretty much it's built my style without me realizing it, because you have to design in that system. And because I've learned to design in that system, it's given my artwork a certain look. So I'm going to say Illustrator. I'm weird. I'm prideful about Illustrator because I taught myself how to use it. And I know it like the back of my hand, and I know it was a hard program to learn. But with today's, goggles on, does a program need to be that hard? No, there's no reason for that. Like when I use Fresco, go ahead.
I was going to say, you could say the same thing with Photoshop. There's so many little tricks and devices in there. A lot of people don't use the majority of the stuff. They use a portion of it. I would say they probably use 20% of it, because that's what gets them most of the design, most of the finished product work done. I don't need to go to use these poster edge filters or whatever. I know what I'm doing. I know what I need for the certain product. If I'm creating a t-shirt graphic, I know what to do to get my effect. If I'm going to create a logo, and then I know how I'm going to design it. I'm going to sketch it out, bring it in, finesse it in my way. One cool thing that Adobe Illustrator does have is that if you create something, you could kind of use their turntable, which is kind of give you a 3D image, where it's a cool little new thing. I mean,
yeah, it just came out though.
Yeah, it just came out. But is it as great as it will be? I mean, it's okay now. A lot of it is a nice to have and not a need to have.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. The difference with Photoshop and Illustrator is there's plenty of other programs you could design on and get the same end result like Illustrator. Photoshop, other than Lightroom, I feel like if you need to edit a photo, most people are going to go to Photoshop to do it. There's a lot of easier versions, but the universal thing that people understand is Photoshop. I feel with Illustrator is different because it's so tough. New programs have come around that's made it easier and more affordable. So I don't blame people for not using it. But anyway, like I said, I like Illustrator because I know how to use it. I've been using it for so long, and my style is built for it. So I'm a fan.
I don't think you'll be the only person in that camp for Illustrator or Illustrator over Fresco. I don't think Fresco is as big yet.
No.
So
It's I will say this year, I saw something as far as like people, I guess, talking about the product or whatever, conversation going on online or whatever, was the biggest I've ever seen it. I was like, when did this happen? It was probably as popular as Procreate. Is that still happening right now? Probably not.
But is that because Fresco is free? Because once it feels like
it probably is, yeah.
When you offer that, it shifts everything.
Yep.
It's the same thing like with Affinity being free. I mean, but there's always a trade-off somehow.
Yeah, it's probably because they made it free, which they did like a few months ago. So that makes sense to me.
I know you're a video game fan, so I got to ask you this. Mortal Kombat or Street Fighter?
Not even close. It's Street Fighter. 100. I know, right? We agree on something. I think Mortal Kombat's a great fighting game. It's hard to come up with a fighting game and it actually leaves some type of impact. And Mortal Kombat has done that. But as far as like a global reach, Street Fighter's like out of here. Like the new Street Fighter is like the best thing since sliced bread. They're still releasing characters. The crossovers are crazy. I feel like right now it's between like Street Fighter and Tekken as far as like which one's the biggest fighting game. But I think as far as culturally, definitely Street Fighter. Shout out to Guile, by the way.
Sonic Boom.
That's my man's.
His Street Fighter 2 theme song
hence the Zangief in the background. That should have given it.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I already knew the answer. What was your favorite game growing up?
I'm all over the place. I played way too many video games.
It really depends. Maybe you have a top 3 or top 5.
What is a game I can see myself playing? If I take Street Fighter out of there.
Oh, no, it's fine. If Street Fighter was your favorite game growing up, then that was it.
Now I'm trying to think. I was always big into RPGs. I don't know. I feel like Pokemon's up there. Pokemon's goated. Kingdom Hearts is goated. Final Fantasy's up there somewhere. Chrono Cross.
But you're talking about the Final Fantasy like 7 and up.
Yeah, 7, 8. Yeah. Those. It's probably one of those. Either that or like a Tony Hawk, believe it or not, which is wild for me to say, but goated.
Tony Hawk that's a solid one.
Yeah.
Especially the soundtrack. Back Underground. The soundtrack really made a lot of people popular.
Classic.
Speaking of RPGs, one of my favorite games of all time, probably definitely in my top. Legend of Zelda: Ocarina of Time.
They're doing a remake, right?
Yep, I saw it, and I've been following throughout the years. This one guy who did his own mission to like do it in the Unreal Engine, and now since they released that they're doing it, he's like, "Well, I guess I'm done." But people are saying that they think because of him doing it so well, like they forced them to re-release it and do it all out.
It's possible. I think I told you this. I played it for the first time last year because they have it on the Wii, on the N64. And I've never really been a Zelda fan. I hate when I play a game, I don't know where the hell I'm going. It's one of my biggest pet peeves. And Zelda does that to you every single time.
Oh, I get it.
But I played it and like an hour into it, I was like, oh, I get it.
What's your favorite sports logo?
Probably the Yankee logo, I would say.
Classic.
Iconic, classic. I can go to Australia and wear that and people know exactly where it's from, know what it is. Can't go wrong with the Yankee logo.
What's one thing that you're excited about right now to work on?
That's a good question. Honestly, this YouTube channel. I don't know. It's my passion project right now, this new YouTube channel. So yeah, there's just that. Just figuring out best way to grow this side of my business.
So 5 years from now, what do you think and hope that future Anderson is thanking present day Anderson for?
This pivot that I'm in the middle of doing. Scariest thing to do is when you're doing something that's different, doing a change. When I did TikTok, I thought that was a crazy move. And I was questioning myself every time I put up a video because at that time, TikTok was like 13-year-olds lip singing the music, but I stuck to it and I'm happy that worked out. And even before that, when I decided to stop doing a clothing brand and pivot to doing art prints, that was a painful transition. So 5 years from now, this transition to do more education, to focus more on sports designs and doing stuff with the fans in that genre, I'm hoping that future Anderson is going to be like, thank God you started to do that.
Where can people find you?
Man, you can find me on Instagram, Anderson_Bluu. You can find me on my YouTube. Honestly, just type in Anderson, BLUU, and you can see my my main channel. That's where I post my shorts, more of my art challenges. I check out my new channel, Anderson Bluu Art, where it's just for the new beginning digital artist looking to get into the game, just trying to learn what tech to get, what programs to use, how to find your art style, and everything in between. And yeah, we'd love to see you there.
Awesome. And I'm Joe Barron. You can find me at brandonbarron.com. If you're looking for branding, if you're looking for a marketing campaign, looking for an illustration, hit me up. Let's make something together. And also make sure to check out and sign up for the newsletter if you want to learn more about me or want to learn more about upcoming Market to Me episodes. There's a lot of information there. I try to provide value. But until then, everybody, take care, be safe, stay creative. Bye, everybody.